GRP, what is up? Thank you so much for coming on. I was just about to say, truthfully, I'm pumped to do this because I know we've chatted back and forth on spaces, out spaces, other spaces, but I just want to get to know you as a dude. I feel like you got a lot to unpack, so I appreciate you coming on. Any opening remarks?
I'm never looking back. I'm always looking nowhere. See it on my track. Just wanted you to know where.
No, Cooper, thanks for having me, and I'll take your word on it that we've spoken in the past, but you know those spaces are. You never know who's speaking, and it's a wild world, and at least now we can talk eye to eye, so we know who we're talking to.
Yeah, you're not wrong about that. I mean, we ran into a situation with a lot of fake GRPs at one point, and that really caused a lot of confusion on who was the real GRP.
That was like 3 months ago. That was a funny day. There were 3 or 4 guys. That was a wild episode. I remember it very well. And now there's still a half a dozen fake ones on Twitter, and you got to look real close. But when you see my picture and you hear me talking, this is the real GRP.
Who do you think is behind those accounts?
I have absolutely no idea, and I'm not smart enough to be behind any of them. So at least I have that going for me. But I'm sure there's a half a dozen different people that, their lives are so sad that they have to mimic someone else. So I have no idea who they are.
They do say it's like the most flattering.
Yeah.
Yeah, that is. It's got to be pretty flattering.
Yeah,
it's most flattering. So yeah, GRP, just kind of getting into, kind of where you come from, and honestly, you're just a big bettor. You're a big gambler like all of us. Were those automatic opening curtains?
My mom opened the curtains. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Get a little more natural sunlight in there. I couldn't agree more. I love it. Shout out to your mom. Shout out Miss GRP. I can only imagine how great of a lady that is. But kind of like your betting history. I mean, just going to the most simple question I could ask you is, how'd you get into sports betting? How'd you start doing it?
For whatever reason, 40 years ago, that was my vice. How someone ends up with their vice, that's a mystery of life. Could be worse, right? Could be in drug rehab right now, but thankfully I'm not. Not a drinker, and I kind of.
What drug of choice do you think it would be if you were in drug rehab?
You know what? I've never been into the drug scene, so I could use some cocaine because I'm a little bit of an underachiever. I could use the energy. How about that?
All right, let's not try to focus on
No,
that
exactly.
too much.
That's not my thing, right?
I don't want to become the catalyst for GRP's drug problem.
I could use the energy though, so you never know.
100%.
No. And then
so how'd you get
with the kids growing up? We played a lot of cards, a lot of poker, and then that led me a little bit to the financial markets, which was kind of smart. And then I went, as you realize, if you guys were a little older, different stages in life, you'd be doing different things. You're at different stages in your life. And then I probably went 25 years. I didn't bet sports at all for 25 years. And then the big ruling came out in 2018 from the Supreme Court 7 years ago. And I knew sports gambling was going to take off again. So kind of thought about my old data, my old research work from a long time ago. And I kind of redid a lot of things. And, now with this Twitter, with the spaces, it's easy to get publicity. And people took off with my videos a couple years ago. And, now it's easy to make a name for yourself. If I was a good looking girl, it'd be really easy to make a name for myself, but I'm not. But here we are.
Hey, don't sell yourself short, JRB. You're pretty good looking.
I mean, pictures of you go crazy.
You got those Greek
right.
chains. How'd you fire up the Twitter? Did you just were you immediately like, I got to get on Twitter. I gotta start cranking videos, or how did that
I think
happen?
if you actually look at my Twitter account, I believe I started it like 10 years ago, and I have no idea why. I almost used, I probably made 10 tweets over the first 5 years on Twitter. I never really got into it. And like I said, in 2018, when that Supreme Court ruling came down, I knew this was going to be big, and I put some effort into it. And here we are today. And everything was kind of slow. And then I started making some videos a couple of years ago. The videos kind of took off. I mean, a lot of them were just, accidental, weird videos. Like my nail will be bleeding and stuff like that. I made some videos a couple of years ago, and people respected the fact that when I was a nobody 5 years ago, I'd be tweeting my picks right at kickoff. They respect a little integrity. And the last 2 years, everything kind of blew up. And now at night, you got Spaces. That's its own little world. You got, a couple hundred people listening to Spaces. And, here we are today.
No, 100%. I have one more question about when you used to gamble 30 plus years ago. How did you gamble? Because I remember talking to my dad, and he would talk about how, when he worked at the factory, a guy would walk around with a slip. And you would basically, mark down who you think was going to cover a spread or something that week, give the guy $100, and if you won, you got paid at the end of the week. How did you do it when you were
Well, it's funny.
growing up?
My very first one, I was in high school. And this kid, I still remember, I remember his first name. We'll just say his first name. His name was Gary. And he was walking around with these parlay cards in high school. And my whole strategy was, 3-team parlay card, big $5 bet I made. I bet on the 3 teams that had to win, like to go to the playoffs. This was the end of the season. And I won the last 2 weeks of the year. I won 2 weeks in a row just by betting the team that had to win, most that needed to win the most. And right. And I won 2 weeks in a row. And then wow, it kind of hooked me a little bit, the old parlay card story. But that was in high school. Then I gambled a little bit. Then I stopped for, like I said, 20, 30 years. And then started again 7 years ago and played a lot of poker the last 20 years. And, here we are today.
So I guess then, when would you say you turned the corner and became like a full-time sports gambler?
Right. Well, then when I was like early 20s, instead of going to school, when my parents thought I was driving to school, I would literally drive to the local library and get some research from the Sun-Times old point spreads. And I would literally write, and this is 40 years ago, before computer. I would literally write down every day's point spreads. I'd go through months of data, and then I'd figure out ways to analyze the data, and I spend hours writing down spreads over the course of months of time and in past Sun-Times. And then I had my little formula, which worked for several years. I was betting $100 a game. I thought I was going to get rich. Needless to say, I didn't get rich. I was broke at 25. And then, had a career change for 20 years and then played poker for 10 years. And then here we are today.
So when you were writing down those point spreads, do you consider that the birth of the notebook method?
No, because first of all, I just had to literally, from like Labor Day to like April, I started with the NFL and the NBA. Those were the 2 things. So I went from Labor Day to April, writing down the spread of every NFL game and NBA game. Just write. You know what? Now that I think about it, I did write it down in a notebook. That's actually a good point. That was just raw data. You're right. I did write it down in a notebook. You're right.
Okay.
There you go. There you go. I started 40 years ago with a notebook. And then I had to analyze the data into my little formula, which worked. And that's a whole different, there's a difference between writing down the point spreads and then knowing how to analyze it.
So how does the notebook method work today?
Well, the notebook method today, what's great about it, it's really for documentation. So let's say I make a bet, I have to write it down in the notebook, and then I tweet out the documentation. So once you have it written in the notebook and you tweet it out, once I write the next bet underneath it, everything's locked in. When I lose a bet, I just can't delete it. This is the simplest documentation there is. You can't get around the notebook. It's in my handwriting, and there's the next entry and the next entry. So I can't just delete a losing pick because the next entry locks it in. You just can't delete something. If you lose, you lose.
Gutsy's a notebook guy as well. I think before you two even knew about each other, Gutsy was a notebook guy on TikTok.
Oh, yeah, here's one right here. Here's one right here, actually. This was probably my 4th or 5th one, and literally, if I go through it, has all my plays, why I bet, what I bet, everything. I documented everything in my notebook for probably 3 years. I think I probably went through about 6 or 7 different notebooks, I'd say.
Right. So what you've done is you have that's like your personal notebook. You have your thought process in there. You keep track of what you're thinking. When I show my notebook, I just have like a 2-line entry, more for documentation integrity. When I use my notebook, it's more for the public to see my bets. You have your notebook. It's like your personal notebook of your thought process, if you know what I mean.
Yeah. 100%. I try to do a little bit of both in it. And it also was good for the videos. I would make a video every day reading out of the notebook, and it kind of just helped me, obviously have things to say to at least have a system.
I actually have an idea for you that I'll let you steal from Gutsy. When the notebook would get hot, Gutsy would hold it with an oven mitt. He would hold it with an oven mitt because it was so hot. Might be, hey, that might be. You can take that one, GRP. You
It's a
can take
good
that
one. It's a good one.
That's
People
funny.
loved
That's
it.
funny.
I guess one more question about the notebooks. I said, I kind of knew how many notebooks I would go through. How many notebooks do you think you go through in a month? And then to follow-up question, is there a certain type of notebook that you have to use because you might be superstitious?
No, the only thing I require, like when I go to like an Office Depot or an office, a big time, office supply
Yep.
store. I usually require 200 pages, and it comes in 5 sections. So there's 5 groups of 40, and in between each 40, there's like a little sleeve there where you can like just stick things in the pocket. So I go for the big high quality one for $15. I don't like the notebook you showed was a little on the small side. I go for the fancy ones for $15, 200 pages, 5 sections. And
Wow.
if I do it right, that will obviously last me the whole season just for my stuff. Now, as we know, I document other people, and then you need a little, So now I have another
Extra
notebook just to
notebook?
document other people.
Yep.
That's actually funny. It's going to transition me right into my next question. Are you on like a weekly show? Is that kind of what you do? Or you maybe are on a VSiN show every now and again? Is that what it is?
Oh no, not at all. I've never been invited on VSiN. I've been on. Do you listen to BetMGM? Do you listen to those guys at all?
Is that what it
Bet
is?
that Joe O and Sammy P. Did you ever listen to that show? Okay, I've been on.
Yes.
I've been on their show 3 or 4 times in my life. Basically, last football season, I haven't been on in a few months, so I've been on their show.
Okay,
Yeah,
so
but nothing like
I
a
heard you
schedule.
talking about how you. Right. But I just heard you you were tracking a guy last year, and he had a horrible season. Who was that guy, and kind of what do you think should happen to him? Do you think he should be invited back on the show
Right.
after such a bad
So
year?
that was Adam Chernoff. He was a weekly guest on VSiN on Follow the Money with Mitch and Paulie. Last year, after about week 3, I decided to just document. All these shows now have all these guests. They talk. They don't write anything down. 90% of people don't bet. So I'm like, hey, I wonder if this Adam actually knows how to pick a winner. So I started documenting his results. I mean, literally wrote in a separate section of the notebook his picks. He had a bad year last year. I don't have the exact data in front of me, but it was just let's say it was a bad year.
I believe it was 51-77.
That sounds about exactly right. You got it. That was it.
Yeah.
And which is horrendous
I think
for
that's what it was.
a quote unquote smart guy. And horrendous is a good word. That's a good word, right? And whether or not he's going to be on this year, that's up to Mitch and Paulie. And I don't know because ratings are ratings. I'm completely neutral because they could have him back on. They could say, hey, Adam, you had a really bad year, and Adam say, yeah, I stunk. Hopefully, we'll turn things around, and just to be on the show for ratings. He may be on the show again this year. I don't know. If he is, I'm going to document him again, and we'll see what happens.
Okay, and so then this year, you plan on documenting a lot more people. I think I heard you say Kelly in Vegas is one. I think I even heard you say Mike Matisow and Phil Hellmuth. Are you going to be documenting their picks this season during the NFL?
They have a podcast. And they literally contacted me like roughly 3 months ago. I was on their podcast one day 3 months ago, and they literally want me to document what they say on their podcast during football season, because they're going to benefit also from the publicity, and they like to make fun of Mike Matisow. Mike is a good guy, but they like to tease him. They're like, Mike, we're going to document what you say this year. We're going to call GRPWins, and you're going to be in the notebook. So here I am. Brandon, I've never met Brandon Cantu, but he's a good guy. He follows me. So he's like, yeah, let's just use this guy, GRP. He's a straight shooter. So they contacted me.
All right, halfway through, quick break. We'll get back to GRP. Just want to shout out the 7-day picks contest we're doing on the app. Download the app, get on there, subscribe. You get a fake bankroll. You make sports picks for free on the app, and you can win tens of thousands of dollars. This fall, in September, we're launching $30,000 in cash prizes, all available to our subscribers to win. All you got to do is compete and be the best.
GRP, we were talking about kind of how, if you were a girl, you'd be doing a lot better and all this other stuff. And I kind of brought up the point about how when you post a picture, GRP, it does well. Pictures of you, just a picture of you, does well when, of course, you have food in it. How did you kind of come to doing that? And how did you just form this social media strategy that you have today?
The food was more of maybe like during the off season. I'm like, I have to like keep people engaged, entertain people a little bit. So I started just taking these food pictures, and they kind of, you never know what's going to take off. So like, like I used the term ham off the bone, and for whatever reason, that just drove a couple people nuts. Like, what is this ham off the bone stuff? And there is a term called ham off the bone. There are restaurants where they have a sign in the window: "We serve ham off the bone," which means ham that's not processed off the bone. It's literally off of a bone. So people are like, "What does this mean, ham off the bone?" People go weird with this stuff. And then I started the old napkin trick just to keep the syrup on one side of the plate. And when I do this napkin stuff, people go nuts with this
Wait,
napkin.
I'm sorry, GRP. What the fuck is the napkin trick? Go ahead. Go
Well,
ahead.
all it is I go to this one restaurant where you get a 2x2. So you get 2 eggs, like 2 sausage, and a piece of toast cut in two. So, it's called a 2x2. A lot of restaurants have a 2x2. So you put a little syrup on the French toast, and I want to keep the syrup away from the eggs on the other end. So I took a napkin and rolled it up and like put it under the plate and took a picture. And this drove people nuts. I mean, what is this picture of this guy with the napkin trick? So now everyone calls it the
That's
napkin
kind of
trick.
psychotic. That's kind of
No,
psychotic.
it is. But it's not like I kind of like
Yeah, I
I
think
just did it by accident.
non-biased third
Well,
party.
go ahead.
Yeah, non-biased third party. I would go nuts too. I would go
Right.
nuts too.
People are like, what's this napkin trick? What's he doing with the napkin, keeping the syrup on the one end of the plate? You know, when you're on social media, when you're on this Twitter, there's 1% of people that just have weird reactions to stuff. And the napkin trick and ham off the bone, people go crazy with these terms.
How do you what's the meal decision process like on a day-to-day basis? Do you know what you're gonna eat for dinner already, or are you in that mindset yet?
It's a great question because like food is like my love and my weakness, and a lot of times I'll know a meal like literally the day before. But right now, because I took a nap, wanted to get ready for our interview. I don't know what I'm having for dinner. I have no idea. I'm analyzing the weather. So no, but
Whoa, does the weather
The
maybe
weather,
change?
the weather affects
well,
you.
yeah, it could. You know what? It could. You never know. It's a good. I don't even know. You never know what change affects anybody. But the ham off the bone place, I can walk there. So that's more of a summer thing because I like to walk there in the summer. Where the other places it's just a
Gotcha.
5-minute car ride. So that's part of the thought process is, do I want to walk to breakfast or not?
Is there ever a day where you just say, fuck it, I'm gonna DoorDash myself some food today or Uber Eats it?
I hate those services for food. I did one a year ago. I had a Lumanetti's pizza delivered because on Thursdays, like for example, today's Thursday. My mom, she just got back 10 minutes ago. Every Thursday, she takes the car. She has lunch with the girls. So this was a long time ago, over 6 months ago. I'm like, I want a Lumanetti's pizza, so I had it delivered, and they used one of those companies, and it literally took an hour and a half. So those companies are horrendous for delivering food.
How many pictures do you think you'll be asked to take at Bet Bash, if any?
Were you the one that tweeted it out yesterday, the day before to me? The picture question?
No,
Okay,
I was
because
not.
someone
No,
actually
not me.
tweeted out that question. Probably 10. I don't know, at least 10 a day, right? Minimum.
Oh, see, if you had to set a line, what do you
So
think
maybe
it would be?
let's go 49 and a half.
49 and a half?
49 and a half.
Yeah,
It's a big number.
I'm a popular
GRP.
guy.
Are you gonna allow that to go over?
We can bet on anything. Why not? I'm a popular guy.
That's what I'm saying is time consuming. It's gonna be really 55 pictures is a
No,
lot of
a
pictures.
picture takes 20 seconds. Someone says, "Can I take a picture of the GRP?" They take their phone out, and that's it. It's very easy.
If he's on his way to a seminar, maybe he just bolts
You,
right past
you're
him.
speaking. You're speaking at Bet Bash?
Yeah, I'm going to be talking about NFL futures with Zilbert. Spanky put the whole thing together, and
Nice.
I've never met Zilbert. He seems like a fun, kind of quirky guy. I'm looking forward to it. Yeah, some people make fun of him, but
He's
you know what?
hilarious.
In his own little world, I think he knows what he's doing. And hey, we'll see what happens. You just have to have the right attitude. You have to have a lot of fun. And I'm looking forward to going to a couple other seminars too, that if they're not sold out. Have you guys been to Bet Bash before?
Honestly, I went 2 years ago. Spanky gave us free tickets to go. Shout out Spanky. I actually called Cooper day 2 or day 3, and I said that this is one of the best events I've ever been to. I think Bet Bash is fucking awesome. You can learn a ton from it. No, we can't. We can't make it this year, unfortunately. We have some stuff, unfortunately, the same week of, so we can't make it this year. Hoping to get back out there next year, but I don't know if you've ever been to a GRP, but it's fucking awesome, and you will make some legit connections there. Especially my favorite part was when they do the little, like, you get like 5 minutes with somebody and you do that with
Yeah,
like
no, I've
10
been there
people.
before. Yeah, I've been there a couple times. Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So you don't talk about them. So that was my favorite, and I met people that day that I still talk to this day.
So
Yeah,
you
shout
went to
out
the Billy
Betbash.
Walters year 2 years ago? Is that correct?
Yes, I was there when they opened up the Hall of Fame for the first
I
time.
believe that was the Billy Walters year 2
So was
years ago, I believe.
That's what I thought. Yeah, it was too, like, there was it didn't even exist, and then we got there and there was just this black curtain, and we're like, what the hell is that for? And then we got down there, and I didn't bring a suit because you have to bring a suit to to get in that last night into like the whatever that bar is called in Circa. Well, I didn't bring one because I didn't bring a fucking suit, so I was just chilling there watching the ceremony. Ceremony went down, and then and then everybody went there. It was cool though.
Yeah.
It was
Did you go to the
time.
Legacy Club? Did you go to the rooftop bar?
Yeah. That's what it was. I couldn't go in there because I didn't bring a suit. You had to have a suit and tie to get in, I think.
Legacy Club is great.
Well, shout out Betbash, and if you're listening, go check GRP out. Got a seminar with Zilbert, two of my favorite people personally in the spaces. But GRP, do you place your bets on what's your preferred book, and do you place it on your phone?
Obviously, because it's easy for everybody just to push a button on the phone. But luckily, I live here near O'Hare, and there's a sports book 1 mile away. And I'm also like old school, walking to the window, giving cash. And it's nice because I like to prove that I bet. There's still something nice to have an actual bet slip where I can say I just placed a bet, ticket number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then if the bet wins or loses, you just show the bet slip because I actually bet the game. So, but if I have a better line and I have to drive a half an hour to another sports book, I'm just gonna use the app, of course. And
awesome. Well, yeah, we've been doing the contest on our app. We'd love to have you on during football season. We'll give you the rundown later, but we're gonna do a quick segment to wrap things up, sponsored by Legends, who backs our prize pool, and it's called "Are You Sharper Than?" ... So we're gonna rattle off a few names, and you just give us a quick yes or no. Are you sharper than?
All
that?
right.
Okay. So I'll start here. Elf.
You know what? Alf is a very smart guy. Let me give Alf his due. I'll say Alf is sharper than me. How about that?
Okay.
All right, number 2, Vegas Dave.
I'm sharper than Vegas Dave. He's the dummy.
Kelly in Vegas.
I'm sharper than Kelly in Vegas. She's better looking, but I'm sharper than Kelly in Vegas.
Well, I guess we'll find out this year because you'll be tracking her picks all year.
100%.
Your partner, Zilbert.
I'm going to say I'm sharper than Zilbert.
Okay.
Spanky.
Spanky is sharper than me.
Okay. Spanky's partner, Fats.
How about me and Fats? We'll call it a push.
Okay, a push. Number 7 is a guy that hits at 57%.
We're also a push.
Someone that tracks their bets on Pickett.
I'm smarter than them.
Okay.
Adam from Mitch and Polly.
I'm smarter than Adam. He talks better game though. He's a better talker.
And last but not least, Mike the Mouth Matisow.
No, I'm a better sports bettor. Mike is a better tournament player. You can make fun of Mike all you want, but he's got a half a dozen big time runs in tournaments. He knows how to play poker tournaments.
Okay, and then just a question about Michael Matisow, follow up. Do you think he belongs in the Hall of Fame yet?
I'm neutral on that. He's been around. You know what? He's made the final table, the main event, before and after Moneymaker. You give him his due.
I think twice too, right? He's made it twice.
That's
before
crazy.
And after, right? He's done it twice. Exactly. You got that.
Yep.
You got to give him his due. I like Mike. Everyone likes to make fun of him, but he seems like a real good guy. I met him once, talking for 10 minutes. That's a 50 because longevity means something. He's been around. No one gave him nothing. He's probably a borderline yes. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Well, so GRP, thank you so much for coming on. Do you have anything for us before we hop off here?
No, you know what? It was great of you guys to invite me on, and if I'm ever in Tennessee, I will definitely. We're definitely gonna. I've never been there in my life. I will definitely hook you guys up, and we'll hook up, and we'll have a beer together.
Let's do it.
Come on out here. We'll take you to Halls. We'll pay for your dinner. We'll get a bunch of beers and all that stuff.
I would be honored to do that with you,
It would be an honor.
Guys, this is a lot of fun. Thank you very much.
Appreciate you.